Welcome to What Bugs You, an informative show about pests in and around your home. This show is produced by Protect Termite and Pest Control to help you better understand the nature and habits of those seasonal pests and what steps you can take to prevent or eliminate them. You can find more helpful information at whatbugsyou.info. And now, to get us started on today's topic, is the host of What Bugs You, Stephen Dodge.
Welcome to another episode of What Bugs You. You know there are many pesticides available in the home centers that people can easily be confused by. What you should look for, what you should avoid, and how to apply them safely around your home, concerns for your pets and your children. Well, today we have Brian Delaney, a certified entomologist, licensed applicator, and one of the founders of Protect Termite and Pest Control. He will walk you through step by step the things that you need to know about pest control around your home for the safety of your family and your pets.
Hi, I'm Brian Delaney with Protect Pest Control of Virginia. I've been in the industry for 35 years, 27 of those years with Protect Pest Control. I'm certified as an applicator and hold a business license in 3 states. In addition, I'm an associate with the Entomological Society of America as a certified entomologist. Today we're at this home in Fairfax, Virginia, and the homeowner has complained of a history of rodent and insect problems, mostly ants. So we're going to take a quick look at the home and make suggestions to him about how he might do some services for himself. We're going to look at pesticides, we're going to look at safety, and we're going to look at how to follow the label correctly. As I go around the home, I see a lot of places where ants and rodents could harbor. First of which might be this deck or some of this heavy growth as we go around and look. The deck is pretty close to the ground, as you can see, and there's a lot of room under there for different pests to harbor. As I go around, I see some good things too. Here I notice that he's put in a drainage system to wick some of this water away that might accumulate. We also have a drainage system over here, and it appears as though all this water drains down to the property line and then goes to the street. Moisture is always a problem with pests. They need it to survive, and this is something we want to deal with as best we can. As I look at the property, I like the idea that it appears as though the water is draining here as well. It looks like this gutter system is connected to the drainage system that we just saw. It looks like there's a pipe there that goes underground and ties into that drainage system. In addition, we have the foundation wall that we have separation between the plants and and the foundation. The mulch can be a concern, but we can deal with that. As I look at the garage, there's a few things that I like about this. One is that I noticed that the holes that you would normally see at a garage door opening have been patched. This substance is black and tarry, and it's very similar to what the air conditioning people put around that hole that emerges through the foundation when they run their lines in. This particular application looks like Hercules putty, which is very common for this. It lasts a long time, doesn't shrink, doesn't crack, and it's an easy patch for this. More than likely, there's something that doesn't rust that was put in behind that, or that doesn't rot. It's probably like a brass wool but not a steel wool, unless it's stainless steel. This wood here is a composite. I can tell because of its firmness, and also at the fact that it's not rotted at all at the bottom. This is a very common place for insect entry because the bottom of these in close contact with this cement or with rain will rot, and they provide entry for insects. Another thing I noticed, that this garage door has a good seal. So it comes down, and this again eliminates the possibility for rodents and insects to enter. Now, I've never seen a home, or a garage especially, that was rodent or insect proof. But you certainly want to try as hard as you can to avoid having any openings that the rodents and insects can get in. I also like the idea that the storage unit is up off the ground. Clearly, a rodent is not going to feel comfortable in that situation. They want to be able to feel protected, and these doors, it appears like they close pretty closely, pretty tightly. There's really no way for a rodent to get into this. Now, this could be a problem, but I was here earlier and I noticed that it's on wheels. So it can be pulled out and inspected and serviced. If I come over here and look, I see that the homeowner already has a glue board in place. So any rodent that might wander back there, there's already something to catch him. Now, glue boards should be serviced quite frequently and inspected and changed as needed. They last about a month. Probably the first line of defense, and I see what the homeowner has done here, is also put a glue board here. If a rodent or an insect was to enter, this is the most vulnerable spot, clearly, right by the opening of the door, and so he's done something to protect himself there. Now today we're also going to make a bait application to these areas and an insecticide application to these vulnerable spots as well. Now we're going to examine some of the ways that you can protect your home against insects and pests, and we're going to head to the home center so that we can find products that we can use easily, safely, effectively to protect your home and family. So here we are at the pesticide section of our local home center. As you can see, there's a myriad of choices that a consumer would have. Here we have the spraying devices, and of course you have the conventional pump-up sprayer and also the hose end sprayer as well. Here we have weed control products. They are considered pesticides, but of course they're not killing insects, so we call them herbicides. And there's a variety of these, and again you can get the ready to use, which is very important, or you can buy concentrates that you would have to mix and formulate. Here we're getting into insect control, which is what our focus is going to be on today. The products that we're selecting is a rat control bait. And as I look at the front of the label, and this is very important, I'm looking for a few items. One is the caution. That is the least toxic of all insecticides. And this rodenticide is designed to be child and dog resistant, and it also can be used indoors and out. For mouse control, we're going to use this product. It's actually the same active ingredient, however, the station is only child resistant, not pet resistant. So it must be used in indoors only. For insect control today, we're going to get this product here. This is the Bayer Advanced Home Pest. And what this tells me is that it can be used indoors or outdoors. It's ready to use. And also, again, I see that caution label, which is the least toxic of all of the pesticides that we can buy. Also, in addition to the front, it tells me that I have a 12-month indoor protection, and also it gives me the active ingredients on the front, so I can look at that. Let's pay for these so we can take them home and get a closer look at the labels. Good. $21.01. Thank you, sir. Yep. Have a great day. Before any application is ever made, for any reason, we must read and understand and follow the directions on the label. You must understand that the label is the law. There is a notice on each label that says that using the product in a manner that's inconsistent with the label is a violation of federal law. So when I look for this label, there are many aspects to it. First off, I want to see, when I purchased the product at the home center, I saw that it was available for indoor and outdoor use. Also that it was ready to use. That means that I do not have to mix, formulate, and then buy all the safety equipment that's associated with that, which might be goggles, gloves, and other protective gear. It also gives me the active ingredients. In this case, the insecticide is beta-cyfluthrin. When I open the label on the back, it's not just this. It tells me to open this portion and pull it back. This entire thing is the label. Now, the first thing I'm going to look for is the EPA registration number. That means that this product has been approved and reviewed by the Environmental Protection Agency. If you open a pesticide product and you do not see an EPA registration number, take it back. Do not use it. The EPA is there to protect us, and they give us instructions about how to use it safely and effectively. This label is worthless unless read and followed and used. Probably this label cost somebody $1 million. And so we have a $1 million document, we should use it. The first thing we're going to look for is the brand name, which in this particular case is Home Pest and Germ Killer. Next thing we're going to look for is the ingredient name, and oftentimes there is a chemical name and a common name of a pesticide. For instance, there was a product that was very famous for a long time called Premise. And of course the chemical name is imidacloprid. Those two products are one and the same. Also, it'll give you the formulation. In this particular case, it says ready to use. The name and address of the manufacturer and the EPA registration number. So here I can open this up and I can see that it was made, I do have the EPA registration number, and I do have the instructions in both English and Spanish, and I have the EPA registration number and the establishment number. The establishment number goes to where it's actually made. The EPA registration number goes to the product, and it tells us that it was approved by the Environmental Protection Agency. Also, I want to look for a signal word. In this case, it's on the front. It says that this is a caution label. Caution is the slightly toxic products. Warning means that it's moderately toxic, and danger means it's extremely toxic. In most cases, homeowners cannot access the danger labels because they're reserved for professionals that have the training and the license to apply them. In my particular case, I hardly ever use a danger label product. I have the training, I have it available to me, but we certainly don't need it. It's more important to understand the biology of the insect and how safer products can do the same job. Also on labels, you're going to have precaution statements, which tells you about safety equipment, and a cautionary statement about where and when it can be used. Also, you're going to have storage and disposal instructions. And of course, directions for use, which is going to be the general way that you apply the product, plus the application sites and the target pests that are allowed. If we look at the label on this product, there's a few things that I want to point out to you. Firstly, I look at the target pest. In this particular case, it starts out on the first segment and it says that I have ants, bed bugs, cockroaches, flea spiders, stink bugs, including the brown marmorated stink bug that is driving everyone crazy, and other listed pests. It says indoor as a spot or crack and crevice treatment only, and we'll show you how to do that in a few minutes, or outdoors as a perimeter treatment. A perimeter treatment means that we're going to be using the product against or near the foundation. This is registered for structural use only. This is not an ag or turf and ornamental product. So it has to be used in or on or near a structure to control structural pests only. It also gives me the active ingredients and the percentages. A caution about this product, it's a beta-cyfluthrin. It's what we call a pyrethroid. A pyrethrin is a naturally occurring compound that comes from a chrysanthemum flower. A pyrethroid is a synthesis of that molecule, and there are many, many different varieties of them. So it says on the label that application is prohibited directly into sewers or drains or into any area like a gutter where drainage to sewer, storm drains, water bodies, or aquatic habitat can occur. Do not allow the product to enter any drain during or after application. This is crucial to the safe use of this product. Pyrethroids can and do harm aquatic wildlife. So when we make these applications, I feel comfortable making the application to the soil near the home and to the foundation directly above it. However, I do not want to make this application to over an impervious surface. I don't want to apply it to sidewalks or driveways or to the foundation wall even. Lastly, the label gives me instructions for storage and disposal. In this particular case, there's one instruction for disposal of this container when it's empty, and there's another instruction for when it's partly filled. So those have to be read and followed as well.
Funding for this program is provided by Protect Termite and Pest Control, the only pest management company in Northern Virginia with both bedbug and termite detection canine teams. Using detector canines to quickly pinpoint infestations and employing the latest pest management techniques, Protect can help you control and eliminate pests with a minimal use of chemicals. For over 25 years, Northern Virginians have protected their homes and property with Protect Termite and Pest Control. Additional support is provided by Dogtopia, offering open play dog daycare, overnight boarding, and spa services. Convenient live webcams offer a peek into your dog's day and peace of mind that they're having the time of their life with their canine friends and Dogtopia's well-trained, loving staff. Every dog is unique, especially your dog. You can trust your precious canine family member to the loving care of Dogtopia's experienced staff. Find more information about Dogtopia at dogdaycare.com.
The label tells me that there are 3 applications on the exterior of a home that are permitted. One is that I can make an application to the perimeter, and it says up to 3 feet up the foundation and up to 4 feet out on the foundation. In addition, I can make a crack and crevice treatment, which would mean if I wanted to apply underneath this area, this would be considered a crack or a crevice, or in between 2 other dissimilar surfaces, or I can do a spot treatment. Now, a spot is 2 square feet. That's not 2 feet by 2 feet. That's either 1 foot by 2 feet or 2 feet by 1 foot. It has to be 2 feet square. So a 2 foot square application, if I wanted to do that, would look like this. That's about 2 feet square. Now these 2 spots, if I wanted to do another one, cannot be adjacent to each other. You have to have a space in between your 2 spots. So if I wanted to do another one, I'd have to move over to here. But in this particular case, the label allows me to do the entire perimeter 3 feet up, so I can apply all the way across. There were no instructions on the label that said that this product was phytotoxic, so I don't have to worry about the plants getting some application on them, because it won't affect the plants. In addition, I can come out 4 feet. So I can make this application all here safely, and this will stop the crawling pests, sow bugs, pill bugs, ants, crickets, and all that sort of a thing. What I can't do is spray over an impervious surface because of the potential for runoff. So I do not want to make any application here. If I needed to make an application, I can switch it to crack and crevice or a stream, and I can apply underneath here, but in an area that the rain is not going to affect and cause a runoff situation. So those are the 3 applications: the perimeter treatment, the crack and crevice, and the spot. Here we're going to move on to our rodenticide product. These 2 may look very, very similar, but there's some important differences. The one that I hold in my right hand is labeled for rats and mice. But more importantly, it says that the station is child and dog resistant. This smaller station is only resistant to children. This one can be used indoors and outdoors, and this one can only be used indoors. If you had a choice, you probably would want to go with the safer station. It has the same active ingredient, it has the same bait. It's simply that the bait station is more secure. This one can be used indoor, can only be used indoors. But if I had a choice, I would only put this where rodents could get to it, but it wouldn't be a likely place for children to have access to this. Probably under a kitchen sink, maybe behind something heavy that a child couldn't move, and so forth. The labels, though, are going to have the same ingredients, are going to have the same components of any pesticide label. You're going to have the brand name, you're going to have the ingredient statement. In this case, it's bromethalin at 0.01%. The formulation, here it tells you that it's a bait product, a preloaded bait. You're going to have the manufacturer's name and address. You're going to have the EPA registration number, which is the product, and the EPA establishment number, which is where the product is made. You're going to have the precautionary statement that tells you the safety items that you have to look at. You're going to have the signal word. Again, this is a caution. This is slightly toxic, which is what we're looking for. The classification. You're going to have first aid instructions. In this case, there's first aid for humans, and there's also first aid for pets in case they're accidentally poisoned. Storage and disposal instructions, and also directions for applying. Now, as we discussed earlier, I have two different types of bait station. One is designed for exterior use, and one is designed for interior use. This one is resistant to pets and children, and it's a preloaded bait station. It's very simple. You want to put where the rodent might run, and they do like to touch, their whiskers to any hard surface. So we want to put this opening adjacent to a foundation wall. You want to put it someplace where rodents are likely to be. If you had a trash can, or if you had or something that would produce seeds, or that might be attractive to rodents, and a food source or a water source, you want to put that near there. Now, these application devices are smaller and only child resistant. The smaller ones are designed for indoor use. The garage is an indoor application, but certainly common sense would dictate that we want to make sure that these cannot be accessed by a pet. So you have to be absolutely certain that a pet will not have access to these. You have to be able to control this environment. Again, we want to put the bait station near where the rodent might enter. That's a great application there. And then these bait stations are preloaded and ready to go. Again, safety is always first. So you want to be sure that you don't have friends with pets that might come over, or leave the garage door open when a dog might be wandering by, or a child. To summarize, the key to using pesticides safely and effectively is the label. Always read and follow the label. It is the law. Remember that the label is a multi-million-dollar document that a lot of time, effort, and research has gone into, both by the manufacturer and by the Environmental Protection Agency, to make sure that the safe and effective use of this product is available to you. There's 5 times to read the label. 1, you want to read the label before choosing a product. You want to read the label before mixing and applying the product. You want to read the label before storing, and you also want to read the label before disposing of the container, and of course, in the case of emergencies. Now, when you're choosing a product, there's a few key things that you want to think about. Firstly, you want to stick to caution labels. Caution, if you remember, is the slightly toxic products. And generally, in most cases, that's all anybody would ever need if used effectively. The warning label is a little bit more toxic. It's moderately toxic, and the danger label indicates that it's extremely toxic. Also, when choosing the product, you have to be certain that there's an EPA registration number on it. If the product doesn't have the EPA registration number and the manufacturer's name and address, don't even consider buying it or bringing it into your home. We must have that EPA registration number on there to know that it's been checked out thoroughly and it's going to be safe in your home, effective, and safe for the environment. Also, of course, before mixing and applying, it'll give you the rate, the amount of diluent that you need, the type of diluent, and the type of device that you're going to use. Ready-to-use products are always the best. Before storing, Storing, if you have some product left over at the end of the season and you want to store it, the label will tell you where to keep it, the temperature to keep it at, or whether or not it's going to last the whole season. Oftentimes it might have to be brought inside or kept in some place that's out of reach of children and pets. Disposing is something that it's very important. Improperly disposed of pesticides can be a real hazard for the environment. If you have a product that you need to dispose of, follow the label. Oftentimes, a good resource for disposing of pesticide is your local Department of Agriculture Extension Service. They oftentimes have a pesticide collection times where you can take your pesticides that you don't want anymore, and they will dispose of them properly. They have all the equipment to do that. If you have a product that, again, in your home that doesn't have an EPA registration number, do not use it. It's probably not safe to use, and call the Department of Agriculture and ask them how you dispose of that properly, since you probably won't have the proper instructions on the label. And of course, in the case of emergencies, it's better to read the label before the emergency happens, of course, instead of afterwards. One thing that you also want to think about when going back to the rodent control is the key to it is avoiding the problem to begin with. You want to make sure that the holes on the outside of the house are sealed. Now, if all this seems a little bit overwhelming, and I understand it can be, or if you simply don't have the time, please remember that you can always call a professional. You're going to want to make sure that this professional belongs to the trade association and that they have all the credentials that you need to know. There's a lot of consumer organizations that rate professionals, and it's not as expensive as you might think. Plus, you'll have the guarantee of the safety and the knowledge that the professional would have.
Thanks for watching What Bugs You, an informative show about pests in and around your home, produced by Protect Termite and Pest Control to help you better understand the nature and habits of those seasonal pests. Remember that you can always find more helpful information at whatbugsyou.info. Tune in again when we'll show you exactly what you can do to prevent or eliminate what bugs you.